In this video, I'm going to discuss the latest application rate for February 2026 BTO. If you are keen to know the application rate for SBF, check out my other video in this channel as well. So let's start by talking the total supply and demand for all flat types in this February BTO. At the moment, Tampines is still leading the way, and as of today, you already have more than 50 to 100 applicants, even though the amount of supply is only 539. So Tampines is definitely heavily oversubscribed. And then Bukit Merah is proven to be quite popular as well. So there's close of 3,000 applicants, while the number of supply is only 1,000 something. If you want a town where you still have a good chance, try Sembawang, because at the moment Sembawang demand is still under the amount of supply available. Now let's talk specifically about 2-room flexi. So this chart is showing the total supply and demand for 2-room flexi. As you can see, Tampines is also the most subscribed for Tampines 2-room flexi, because there are over 2,100 applicants, even though the available units is only 122. And then Bukit Merah is on second place with more than 1,200 people applying. The amount of supply is 368. And then Sembawang is interestingly more popular than Toa Payoh, because at the moment there are 732 people applying for Sembawang, but for Toa Payoh is only 599. Now let's look at the 2-room flexi application rate for seniors. So for seniors at the moment, Tampines is already hitting 7.2, which is an increase versus yesterday. Yesterday was still at 6.6. And then for Bukit Merah today it's 1.8, and for Toa Payoh today is 1.4. Sembawang is still at 0.7, which means that if the application rate is less than 1, you have a very good chance in securing a 2-room flexi in this town for seniors. Now let's look at the application rate for singles. Oh, yeah, so unfortunately for Tampines, the application rate almost coming to triple digit. At the moment, it is at 97.2, meaning there are close to 100 people applying in Tampines and fighting for one flat. So if you haven't applied yet, maybe you want to consider other towns with less competition. So for example, Bukit Merah is at 6.5, Sembawang at 2.6, and Toa Payoh is at 4.1. Now for first-timer families, for 2-room flexi, their application rate is, is always good. So even Tampines, 2.8 is the highest. But then as you can see in other towns, is still very much doable if you are first-timer families keen to apply for 2-room flexi. Now for second-timer families, it's a similar setup where for Bukit Merah, Sembawang, and Toa Payoh, the application rate is still less than 1, but for Tampines as of today, it's already at 6.7. Now let's look at the total supply and demand for 3-room flat. Tampines again is the most popular town this time around with 442 applicants already, even though there are only 80 3-room flats being offered. And then Bukit Merah and Sembawang is pretty much neck on neck, and Toa Payoh is the least popular for 3-room. In terms of the application rate for first-timer families, for Tampines currently it's at 2.9, and then as you can see, Sembawang is 1.2. If you haven't applied yet, try Bukit Merah or Toa Payoh because the application rate is still less than 1. And then for second-timer families, this is where the numbers already entered double digit for every town with the exception of Sembawang. So Sembawang is still at 6.2. But other than that, Bukit Merah, Tampines, and Toa Payoh, the application rate is already more than 10. Now let's talk about the total supply and demand for 4-room flats. Again, Tampines is leading the way with number of applicants more than 2,600 applicants, even though the amount of flat is very limited. And then the next town that is quite popular as well is Bukit Merah. There are close to 1,600 applicants applying there. So for both Sembawang and Toa Payoh, the amount of supply is still higher than the demand. So if you want to apply, probably you can consider either Sembawang or Toa Payoh. Now let's talk about the application rate for first-timer families for 4-room flat. For Tampines, the application rate is already reaching 5.7. Bukit Merah is 1.6. But for Sembawang and Toa Payoh is still well under 1. Which is very good if you just want to get a roof on top of your head as soon as possible. And then next up, we have the application rate for second-timer families. For Tampines, it's already 27.8 and Bukit Merah is already 12.2. So the odds not looking very good. Sembawang is 2.5 and Toa Payoh is 3.9, which is, well, in perspective, it's kind of low if we compare it with Tampines. Now let's look at the application rate for Sembawang. For Sembawang, there's not much movement. This is for 5-room specifically. Application rate today is 0.3. Yesterday is also 0.3. For second-timer families, today is 2.3. Yesterday was 2.1. And even in terms of the number of applicants, it's still well under the amount of supply. I don't know why. Maybe like whoever planning at HDB, maybe they are thinking that many people want to have 5-room flats. That's why they set aside 662 units of 5-room flats. But as you can see here, the number of applicants really under the amount of supply. So there's a good chance that these 5-room flats will end up in the SBF maybe a couple of years from now because there are so many 5-room units. But then the amount of applicants is very minimal. And as usual, I'm showing you the screen recording of the HDB website showing the application rate of BTO in this February. If you want to know more what's the update, come back again to this channel. Thank you so much for your attention and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye. To support my work, you can give a one-time tip by pressing the thanks button, pick the amount that you want, and click buy and send. Or you can also press the join button for exclusive contents and monthly membership. Your support means a lot to keep us independent. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!